Welcome back to this amazing podcast. We're having such a beautiful conversation, and I would like us to continue with the same conversation. And thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to follow us on our social media platforms. That is X, Facebook, and Instagram, and TikTok as well. So I'd just like to ask Bwana Ofisa, hakuna siku ushaitumwa huko kwa kijiji uende ukashike mtu na huko unataka maybe kumshika, ulipata maybe kenye umetumwa ukamshikie, hai make sense or something like that? Ujai kuwa na instance kama hizo?
Okay, ile kitu inafanyika ndio ufike mahali unaenda kushika mtu. There is a crime that has been reported against that person. So you don't just go arrest for fun. We arrest suspects who have committed offenses that are on investigations.
Mm-hmm. Na hakuna time yoyote maybe ukipita kwa kijiji, unajua young people tunakuanga na mchezo mingi, unakuta tumeongelea story ya pedla hapa Alphonse alimention. Hakuna siku pedla ashai kufuata hivi kwa kakona akakwambia afande, kuna vile na niko na hizi mavitu naweza taka kukushikisha, ama nauzaga hizi vitu nataka unipatie protection. Ujai pata instance kama hiyo?
Hakuna instance kama hiyo. Okay, ile kitu inafanyika during our patrols. Unaweza kutana na makosa inatendeka and then you effect arrest. Isa hiyo. And what I can assure you ni kwamba makosa ya kuuza bangi ni makosa kubwa. Hiyo sio kama mambo ya chang'aa. Hiyo chang'aa tunaita hiyo ni petty crime. But kwa bangi hiyo ni makosa kubwa mpaka unatolewa hata vidole. Unawekwa kwa group ya as a criminal, unajitambulisha kama umewahi fanya makosa kubwa. So tusione kama mambo ya bangi ati ni mambo kidogo. Hiyo ni makosa kubwa sana.
But pia nimesikia kuna instances zenye ipatia mtu anashikwa na bangi, but police officers wanasema wapewe a certain amount of money wamrelease. Sijui kama kwenu inafanyika, but I have had so many cases, uncountable number of times. Mtu ameshikwa na bangi, police officer anataka apewe kitu amwachilie. Unaona? Na wengine wanataka pia kuenda na hiyo bangi. So hajafikishwa police station, ako tu kwa njia. Hapo in between patrol, hapo kwa mtaa. Bangi amepatikana nayo. Police officer anasema nipatie 1500 nikuachilie. Na anataka kwenda pia na hiyo bangi. Hii bangi inaenda police. Huwa wanakuja na police station ama hata ujui kunaenda gaji hapo katikati.
Okay, kama kuna maelewano inafanyika huko njiani, hiyo ni makosa. But mtu akishafikishwa kwa police station, huyo mtu bado ako na haki yake hata kuachiliwa on cash bail. So akiwa kwa police station, tunafanya process yote, anachukuliwa vidole, ana record statement, tunafanya inventory ya hiyo bangi amepatikana nayo, inapigwa picha, alafu the procedure is huyo mtu ako na haki yake ya kuachiliwa on bond. Anaweza pewa cash bail alafu ajipeleke kotini siku fulani ile ataandikiwa. Ndio hata hii bangi pia inapelekwa mpaka government chemist. Kuna specialist huko mwenye atadhibitisha kwamba ni bangi ama ni matawi.
Huwa mnajuaje kuvalue pia bangi? Because kumekuwa na instances mtu anashikwa anaambiwa hii bangi ni ya over 1 million. Ni projection gani zenye mnakuaga nazo?
Sasa ile kitu inafanyika ni hivi. Bangi wakati mtu anashtakiwa na bangi, kama ni rolls, utapata pale kwa charge sheet inaandikwa kwamba wewe ulipatikana na rolls 15 ya bangi of street value. Street value ni ile value hiyo bangi msokoto moja inauzwa kwa hiyo mtaa mahali imepatikana. So unachajiwa na kupatikana na msokoto fulani ya street value kulingana na hiyo msokoto hapo vile inauzwa. Na kuna wakati mtu anaweza patikana na bangi yenye sio rolled, iko inapimwa na kilo. Na iko kwa gunia. So ikipatikana wakati kama hiyo bangi, kuna valuation officer, kuna experts wenye wako kwa lab, kwa government laboratory. Wale ndio wakipima hiyo bangi ndio wanapeana value ya hiyo bangi. So mpaka tunatengeneza kitu inaitwa exhibit memo. Hiyo exhibit memo tuna forward hii bangi mpaka kwa government chemist, inaenda inapimwa, wanapeana value yake na wanaitest kwamba, na wanaandika report ya kuonyesha kwamba hiyo bidhaa ni bangi.
Kwa hivyo hii yenye inasemwaga hapa ni street value tu. Okay. Sawa. Alphonse. Wacha turudi kwako. Tulikuwa tumeacha mahali ulikuwa unasema kwamba the high rates of unemployment in Kenya contribute to what is happening in terms of the safety and security of the country. While yes, that makes a lot of sense, yes. But I also remember nilikuwa nakwambia kwamba in as much as yes hatuko employed, we should also not do some things, because again if today anything happens wrong to someone, tunaanza kumtafutilia wapi? Na pia what is the benefit that this person gets? As young people, what is the benefit we get tukichora mtu akikaa kwa casket?
The first question is that I want to answer is usione kama vijana wakifanya hii kazi ati hakuna faida wanapata. Kuna faida mingi sana. You see, demonstration or protest, sio lazima uende kwa street na matawi. There are so many types of demonstration. Even in the house, a child can refuse to eat. That child is on demonstration. Sasa ukiona vijana wanafanya kuchora rais, they are expressing their wishes. That is an expression of their wishes. Sasa rais amekuwa hawasaidi kwa njia yoyote. So kumchora kwa saduku wanasema tuna assume our president died. Hatuna rais. Kenya iko free mode. Ama pili, as an expression of dissatisfaction, the president has not lived to his promises. So his promises are as dead as him. So that is what they mean. It is important, it makes the president to realize that the general population are not happy, and therefore he should act. In fact, if I were one of the advisors of the president, I would ask him to be presidential first.
Hold on that thought. When you talk about employment rates in Kenya, yes, there is a lot of unemployment. But also, what is the space of creativity? And also us as young people challenging ourselves to not only wait on the white collar jobs, or rather to get jobs in offices in as much as we are graduates, but find ways to make things work for ourselves. Are we using our creativity to create jobs for ourselves? Is it something that we are practicing even as we look for jobs as young people?
Sisi kama mimi sasa, wakati tulikuwa shule, ukikumbuka in your form 2 kama ulitumia ile curriculum yenye wanatoa sahi, kuna wakati tulikuwa tunasoma roles of government in business. Number 1, creating enabling environment. Now this question back to you. Is the Kenyan government creating enabling environment to any such kind of thing? Thank you. Now, wacha tu nimalize hii. Kama the environment does not allow people to create their own jobs, what are they supposed to create? If I cannot create a job that keeps me busy, I will create chaos so that I draw attention. You see, people who draw attention are people who are, number 1, they are idle. Number 2, they are bitter. In fact, those are people who are just Kenyan because they were born in Kenya. Otherwise, if they have an opportunity to fold Kenya with all the people inside and throw it somewhere, they would do it.
So how best do you think we should formulate our advocacy campaigns to address these challenges we are facing as a country? What would you recommend for us to do, especially in the civil society organizations? What are some of the things you think can work to ensure that we are being heard and indeed policies are working to the advantage of the Kenyan citizens?
Sometimes we as the people, we should not be perceived as only promoting anti-government statements, but the little positive ideas we have given the government, have they practiced? No. Now, that is one reason why majority of people who are anti-government do not want to give the government solution. Because even if you give them a solution, they would not implement. The government itself does not want the people to feel good because our leadership is are capitalists. They want to gather all the resources and put at their disposal alone, leaving the people as their subjects. This is neocolonialism. A person who has the neocolonialism mentality does not receive your good idea that is going to make your life better and independent. They want you to be at their disposal in terms of project. Anataka njaa ndio mkimuona akuja na fleet yake magari mna wave, mko hapo njaa lakini mnamuevia. That is why we are not just opposing the government with a skull alone. Even if you told the presidency or the government at large, kama kwa mfano kuna watu ambao ni Wakenya na ni wakulima. Hao watu hawana shida na serikali. Wao wanangoja tu mvua inyeshe, wapewe mbegu mzuri na fertilizer mzuri. Huyo ndio unapewa fertilizer fake. What do you expect that person to do? Now, the solutions I've given to the government. Number one, kama wewe ni serikali, you are in the government of the day. Number one, give people basic needs. Kikatiba, the Bill of Rights, chapter 4, article 43, 1C, inasema, the government should protect its people from disease, poverty, and hunger. And it continues to state, if you are hungry and you cannot afford food, the government should give you food, cooked one, ready, served on the table. It is iko kwa katiba.
I have read the Bill of Rights for very many years, but I've never understood that it brings forth cooked food. But thank you for enlightening me about it. And I think I will read it again for me to also understand the cooked food bits. Because at times I thought it's food only, but now when you talk about cooked food. But Alphonse, where is the government getting cooked food, Jamin?
But we pay taxes. Our taxes are supposed to serve us. Unajua, saa ingine nakuanga na uchungu sana. Saa zile naangalia, tumeweka serikali pale. Sisi wote vile tuko hapa, whether employed or unemployed, we are contributing to the GDP of this country by virtue of paying taxes directly or indirectly. Then we expect our taxes to service us by providing well-equipped hospitals with technical know-how and the personnel there. Sahi, a woman stormed the Ministry of Health offices saying they had a patient on bed that was supposed to be operated. Then they were being told ati SHIF na SHA haiwezi lipa. Na huyu mama amelipa premiums. Sasa unanataka kuniambia huyu mama sasa makosa yake ni gani? Mtu ameshalipa mpaka premiums, bado hawezi pata services. Are you going to be happy with your government? Serikali, wacheni kudanganya wananchi. Sisi kama human rights activists hatutachoka. Ile kazi Mungu alituumba hii dunia kufanya ni kupigania haki ya wengine. Hata kama inamaanisha we will pay the ultimate price of losing ourselves. We will continue fighting for the rights of our people because we know the government of the day has turned deaf ears towards the plight of Kenyans. Yes.
Thank you so much, Alphonse, for highlighting that. And to also, I like your passion about human rights and also just putting yourself out there and saying that indeed there are so many ills that are happening and the government should actually put themselves together and ensure that the human rights are protected. Mr. Omondi, even as we wrap up this conversation, I don't know if you have trainings where law enforcement officers are taken to for just for them to understand human rights, because I have had people here outside complain a lot about how the police have handled them. We have seen cases of police brutality. At times I even sit to wonder, do you guys have trainings on human rights? Do you have an understanding what human rights entail and how to protect them, especially as law enforcement officers?
Yes, it is true that the police are trained. And they are equal to the task that is assigned to them to protect the citizens of this country, to protect life and property, to maintain law and order. We have police colleges in Kenya. One at Kiganjo is the main campus. We have Embakasi A campus and Embakasi B campus. Two are just here in Embakasi. So police are well trained, and all the duties that are assigned to them, they are equal to the task.
Yeah, thank you so much. And also, maybe for you to just give me, not really a projection, but you could just maybe tell me, what do you feel, or rather, what do you think about the current state of security in the country? As a police officer, yes, from where you're sitting from.
Okay, as a police officer...
And also as a common mwananchi, again, because in as much as you're a police officer, but at the end of the day, you're also a Kenyan citizen with equal rights and freedoms, yes.
So from where I serve currently, I want to say that we have managed a lot. The situation is not like before, where we used to have a lot of cases of robbery with violence. When I came to Embakasi in about 5 years ago, there used to be robberies during broad daylight, and the suspects used to have even firearms. And in most cases, even our police officers, our colleagues, have been murdered in these crime scenes. So I want to say that our collaboration with the members of the public, the Nyumba Kumi, and promoting community policing within our area has really made us achieve a lot in terms of security. And right now we are doing better than before.
Okay, while that is happening, but do you also think that as a country entirely, as a country, is it that one issue, or rather the levels go down, another issue crops up? Or do you think there are things that can be done differently? Because honestly, as a Kenyan citizen, where I'm sitting from, I don't feel safe. I don't know if today I walked out and went to along the streets, maybe someone would arrest me, pick me up, someone would steal my handbag and things like that. There's also been a rising case of femicide and homicide altogether. Like, there's just been quite a number of things just cropping up day in, day out. Do you think it's a problem with the Kenyan citizens, or is it a problem with the law enforcement agencies in Kenya?
Definitely, what I would say is that security begins with oneself. Right now, if you look at...
Also elaborate on that, when you talk about security begins with oneself, because someone else outside there would be thinking, what do you mean it begins with oneself? Am I supposed to be protecting myself? Sina nguvu, sina uwezo, as the saying goes.
What I mean is this. We understand the areas we dwell in. We understand the security situation in those areas. And they are not police stations. Police stations are not all over the country. And we are very much aware of the kind of crimes that are committed in the areas, various areas we reside. So if I say that it begins with oneself, I mean that members of the public, we must take a responsibility. You see, right now, if you go to town, you see a fellow or a colleague is being snatched of his belonging, a mobile phone, for example. The rest will just pass. The best they can do is to take a photo, to take a video, and then do content. So what I would encourage is that when you see a criminal act is being committed against a fellow citizen, let us take responsibility to assist. Let us take responsibility to assist them. Let us advise them on what to do at times, or we can even escort them to the nearest police stations instead of doing content with the ugly incidents that occur in the streets.
So that also means that technology gets to play a vital role to also protect the Kenyan citizens, or rather to ensure that human rights are protected. So altogether, in as much as I understand that our Gen Z's content is always there, like anything is content, anything is content. However, I feel there is an important bit technology gets to play, or rather those short videos, etc., that can be used as evidence to ensure that whatever is happening is on record. Because again, if that instance didn't happen, in as much as he was not released, but you see again, it was on record. There's a lot of help that investigating officers can get from that particular footage to ensure that that person is maybe found. But in instances where, if we talk about asking our young people not to shoot videos, etc., or rather not to continue taking content, we will also find our place at ourselves rather at a place where we don't really have, aside from the word of mouth, like so and so was abducted at place XYZ, but there's no footage whatsoever to show exactly what was happening. That also puts your work as a police officer, maybe also gives you a challenge as a police officer, because you're not having maybe a backup aside from just someone reporting. But if you have videos, if you have CCTV cameras, like in this house, you're able to say at time XYZ, ABCD happened, and that can also help your investigations. So I think the conversation should be more centered on encouraging young people, yes, to take footage, but it should not be in the lines of now creating content, because that's another, how do I put it? That's another thing altogether, because now when you come to content creation, you can't create content when someone is dying, someone has an accident, and you're there shooting and saying, this person has been knocked down by a motorcycle, and you're putting it in your TikTok, circulating it in TikTok. We can advise them not to do that, but in any case where things are happening that are not proper, I think documentation, or rather the videos, the photos do really assist. Even as we come to the close of this conversation, Alphonse, as a human rights activist, you have said that in terms of our advocacy efforts, the government needs to also first be at the front line to ensure that the human rights are protected and safeguarded. But what is also the role of the Kenyan citizen? You as an activist, what are some of the things you think you can do different and to ensure that we are moving in the right direction? Yeah.
Okay, so the Kenyan citizen are the most resilient breed of people. Mm-hmm. The Kenyans have been taken through very inhuman treatment by most of the regimes. For example, I read the documentaries about the past from independence, and most of them are pointing to assassinations and violation of human rights. For example, the 1969 police shooting in Kisumu, you realize that was a violation of the human rights. If you come to the time of Moi, there were a lot of abductions, just like what we are seeing now. There were people during those days who fought for human rights. It means that the police, though evolving, but keeps remaining the same through that evolution. Mm-hmm. When you come during Kibaki, he also violated some of the rights. They are documented. I'm not speaking from hearsays. You can read even in the post-election violence of 2007, the causative agents were contributed by political intolerance and power greed. You come to 2017, so we have consecutively and sequentially seen that majority of the things that affect the people have always been initiated by the leadership of that time. It's going to be possible for the people of Kenya to adopt and say that they like their leadership when some of the atrocities met on them are by the government agencies whom they pay from their own pockets. Mm-hmm. That is a fact that must be considered. Mm-hmm. Finally, as I complete or as I finish, I want to say that the people of Kenya have learned most of the things that the Constitution required of them. Kenyans are not illiterate, but the generation that was illiterate are almost fading away. The current generation, they have gone to school, they understand what they expect. The story of police saying that they can effect arrest, there's nothing like effecting arrest. Police should summon the suspect first. you summon the suspect to appear before a nearest, the nearest police station. Failure to which, that is when you apprehend. But in Kenya, you are apprehended even without having any information that you committed a crime. The process of arresting someone without notifying them the crime they committed is itself a crime. People must know that when you are arrested without being told the crime you have committed, that is wrong in the first place. So we want to urge the police to effect the reforms that had been initiated, and the government to live true to its people.
Thank you so much, Alphonse. And I'd also like to welcome Mr. Omondi's parting shots. You'd maybe in less than 1 minute.
Okay, what I would say as my closing remarks is that we encourage it. When a police officer has approached you, introduced himself to you, and has told you the offense you have committed, resisting arrest is also a criminal offense. If you resist arrest in that instance, you are also charged for that offense. Taking videos at a crime scene, it is very helpful only when you present that video to the police station, because it cannot be used as evidence when it has not been extracted by an expert in a forensic lab. So if you really mean well that you want to give evidence to the police, after that incident, present yourself to the nearest police station, and then let that video be extracted and be used as evidence. It is also an offense to circulate that video of another person without his consent. That is also an offense that people do. So we encourage members of the public to cooperate with the police, give information to the police. We are always there at your service, and we are really doing our best to ensure that our country is safe and everyone can go about his business safely. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Omondi, for joining us today in this conversation, and thank you also, Alphonse, for joining us. We are very deeply honored to have you today in our set, and we look forward to more meaningful conversations and also empowering our communities at large in Kenya. And also from the organization, we'd like to say thank you so much also for listening in and for joining this conversation. You can put your comments, any idea you could have regarding what we can do best as a country to move forward and to even have security reinforced, please do share with us. And also please kindly follow us on our social media platforms, that is X, Facebook, IG and TikTok, and also don't forget to subscribe on our YouTube channel. Till next time, bye.